Okay. Hello, everybody. We are starting our. Hello, everybody. Sorry. We are starting our meeting today in the channel of Easy Venture, and I am glad to have as my guest Ksenia Yudina. Ksenia is a founder and CEO of Unest. It is a very promising startup in which AltaIR and Alta Club investors just invested recently. I'm glad that we did so. I'm proud to be on board of the company. But today I want to speak not about AltaIR. I want to speak about the project Unest and about the Ksenia. Generally, okay, it is not so often that in fintech we find a bright lady founder, and it is the case. So, Ksenia, hello.
Hi, Igor. Great to be here.
Okay. Please, could you tell a little bit about your way, how you started, how you get to the idea, and what exactly you decided to do?
Yeah, sure. Sounds good. And for those people that are listening right now and they don't know what Unest is, I'll just give a quick background. So Unest is a fintech platform that helps parents save and invest for their kids for like future, like, education, first car, house, and so on, and also get gifts very easily from grandparents, friends, and other family members in the child's investment account. So my story goes like this. I came to the United States when I was just like 18 years old and was very passionate in finance. So put myself through undergrad, obviously then MBA, graduated with a lot of student loans, and always was very entrepreneurial. Actually, I was running my own real estate company back in the days. But when I was in business school, I really wanted to pursue a traditional corporate finance route. So got to Capital Group, got my CFA, and spent about 4 years there. So what happened, the idea actually hit me when I was at Capital Group. I was working with a lot of high net worth individuals, and I realized that for all of our clients, saving and investing for their children was their top priority. That's what was on their mind. It wasn't their retirement, it wasn't anything else. But traditional financial advisors were trying to push the most expensive products on the clients and something that didn't really meet their needs. The second thing that I observed was that a lot of my friends who were younger and graduated from top schools, also with student loans, they approached me and asked how we can start saving for our kids. And when I introduced the plan from Capital Group, which is actually one of the best plans in the United States, it's probably the top plan, I got a lot of pushback. And I was like, okay, what's wrong? Like, why are you not getting started? It's an amazing plan. But the plan looked like 16 pages long financial application. And what they told me is no one's going to deal with paperwork, and everyone is already on mobile. Everyone was using Venmo to send money and Robinhood to trade and Mint to learn about financial education. So the feedback was, go and find a better way. We're not going to get started at Capital. It needs to be mobile. It needs to be easy. It needs to be convenient. So my idea was to build something that would be convenient, accessible, affordable, and basically available to the consumers of all economic backgrounds, to parents of all income levels, not just the wealthy clients that I had at Capital Group.
And okay, I understand how you get here. But what exactly the product does? What do you offer? Is it a type of insurance, or is it a type of investment, or it's combination? And what else do you have to parents?
Yeah. So just like a quick kind of background on the custodial accounts that parents can use to save for the kids in the United States. Typically, there are two main accounts. One is called 529 and one is called UTMA. 529 is amazing tool. It's tax-free, but it's only meant for education. And if parents don't use it for education or for college, they lose all tax advantages and there is a penalty. The UTMA that Unest uses is actually more flexible. So it's also an investment account. It has amazing tax advantages. So parents can invest when the child is like newborn or like, very young and invest throughout, the next 15, 18 years. So by the time the child, ready to enter adult life, the investment account appreciated, you have a great tax savings, and you can set your child up for successful future. So we work with UTMAs. And also what accounts that, like what the app helps parents to do on top of just saving and investing yourself, you can actually get gifts, like, via just like shareable link into your child's account for like Christmas, for birthdays, when you like reach out to your friends and family. And you can also earn financial rewards from our brand partners. And we partnered with 120 different companies like Disney Plus, Uber Eats, DoorDash, 1-800-Flowers, and so on. We also enable parents learn about finance. So it's also like very heavily focused on financial education. So we're not just providing the tools, we also help to educate parents.
Okay, and how much job to be done does it request from parents? Is it like, I understand it's easy to join mobile application, but then how much should I work to understand what to do?
Yeah, actually, it's super easy. Like anyone with a mobile phone can do it. It only takes 5 minutes to set up the account. You just easily enter your information, child's information. We help you as a financial advisor to select the right investment portfolio. And we invest in low-cost Vanguard funds. We currently have 5 different options. And then again, you can go back to the app and make additional deposits, change your plan, change your investment portfolio, learn about finance. Everything is super simple and easy and enabled with technology.
And Ksenia, what about additional educational materials? How parents get it? And what exactly is it?
Yeah, so we currently have a couple things. First of all, we have a section called Unest Learn that has blogs and different sections where parents can learn about credit cards, student debt, savings and investing for kids. We also partnered with other providers of financial literacy like Zogo Finance, for example. So parents can complete fun quizzes and earn rewards every time they learn about financial concept. What we plan to do in the next iteration of the app, actually in 2022, is to build a product called Unest Legacy, where parents can become portfolio managers for their kids and actually buy individual stocks and crypto into their child's account. And by doing that, they can also teach their kids about different stocks and why I chose shares of Amazon versus shares of Facebook and so on.
Got it. And okay, Ksenia, how do you see mission, your own mission and mission of the project? What is what you want to achieve with the project?
Yeah, so our mission is to help parents build a better future for their children by providing access to affordable and efficient financial solutions. So this is a broader mission. So we would like to help parents, like 99% of those parents who do not have access to financial advisors, to easily get started with the plan and set the kids up for the successful future. We start the relationship when the kids are very young, like 0 to 5-year-old, and our idea is to help through every single life cycle for those kids and become that holistic financial solution for them. My personal view, like on the industry, is that fintech is kind of prime for disruption right now, and in 10-15 years from now, traditional financial advisors probably will not exist. Everyone will switch to technology. So we're trying to be like on the forefront of that and enable kind of people who previously didn't have access to financial solutions and financial education to do that with technology.
Okay, got it. Ksenia, okay. As I told, we joined the project on last round. Today, the project is already quite grown. You have a solid board of directors, advisors, and solid investors. Could you tell a bit more how you managed to get all these parties on board? And
Sure.
you can name somebody if you want.
Yeah, I mean, startup is like always a journey, right? With like, various chapters. We just, kind of finished our Series B round, and Igor, I'm so happy that you guys participated. So a couple of words about this round. It was an interesting combination of traditional venture funds and large financial institutions. So again, like a lot of financial institutions right now, they realize that kind of they're missing out on this wave of innovation. So they would like to participate in fintech startups. So Franklin Templeton invested in this round, Northwestern Mutual invested in this round. And in terms of such great advisors and investors like yourself, so AltaIR, Unlock Ventures, Artemis, it's of course it's like a lot of connections, it's a lot of like network, and just understanding who would be the right type of venture fund, who would be the right investor for you at this stage to get you to the next stage, right? Who can open up their networks, make the right introductions, help with recruiting, and so on. So I'm extremely happy how the round came together, and so far we've been through three price rounds. So we closed the seed round back in 2019. We closed Series A in 2020, and just closed, Series B, as you know.
Yes, I know. And how big is the company today?
Yeah, so we are 35 people. So planning to pretty much like double the size of the team after this round. We based in LA for the most part for the core team. The executive team is based in LA, but we also hired a lot of people around the country during COVID, just remotely. Like I didn't even see like some of the employees, and we do work with a lot of developers out of Russia, Belarus, and Ukraine. So I'm a big believer in the talent out of Eastern Europe.
Got it. Tell me please. Okay, if you plan to double size of your companies, number of employees, and so on, what do you want to tell to our listeners and our readers afterwards? How to join your company? How people could participate? Okay, first of all, bring and then participate in success of the project.
Yeah, so again, like I'm a very big believer in the power of referrals. When we were building the company, we got a lot of great talent from Acorns, for example, because when people come and they love working for the company, they always bring their friends. And that's how we were hiring developers as well. So a lot of referrals. So I would say the best way to reach out to us is either try to reach out to me directly or reach out to someone who I know. For example, like if someone reaches out to you, Igor, I'll definitely take the introduction and I'll definitely talk to the candidate. Right now, I would say like the top positions that we're looking to fill are product manager and UX UI and designers. So those are like the top kind of priorities for the company right now. And obviously, like what's important for us in the candidates is the alignment with the mission, right? Like we have a lot of parents at the company who just understand as parents like why it's so important what we're building. But a lot of people also joined just because they saw the impact of the student debt on the country and they just want to solve this problem, right? Like right now, as you know, in the United States, we have 1.7 trillion in student loans, and it's pretty significant, impact on the whole generation. So alignment with the mission is important.
Okay, clear. Tell me, okay, to become big, it's really necessary to run very fast. What do you see about your future growth and how ambitious are your targets?
Yeah, so basically, like just to give you perspective of how quickly we're growing, back in 2020, when we were closing our Series A, we were just about 30,000 users on the platform. At the time we were closing Series B, we were at over 300,000 parents and kids on the platform. Right now we are at about 400,000, and the plan for the next milestone is to get to a million, parents and kids on the platform. We basically 5x our AUM and revenue just this year. And again, we would like to repeat that success next year. Have a very robust product roadmap. I already mentioned Unest the legacy that's on the roadmap. We're also thinking about launching secured credit card to help kids build credit. And we just became a broker dealer, which was a huge milestone for, it's a huge milestone for any fintech. So another interesting kind of area of focus is partnerships. Just signed a partnership with PayPal, so we will be launching PayPal in the app as one of the funding sources. But we also would like to partner with more of the B2B players to, for example, like we would like to make Unest an employee benefit, because we know that it's in such a high demand from people. We did a survey of 2,000 parents, and 84% said they would love to see custodial accounts for their kids as an employee benefit.
Okay, get it. When you grow, I believe that you meet some competition and some rivals. Could you generally tell, how tough is competition in your segment, and how you manage to overcome it?
Yeah, so we definitely developed the first mover advantage in our specific segment of like we're focusing on parents with young kids like 0 to 1. We also just in the past year acquired actually two other companies, Kid Fund and Little Fund. Both of them were focused on the same segment, so we also like consolidating the industry and achieving this competitive advantage through acquisitions. And just generally, like if you look at the fintech space in the United States and even like in Europe, you would notice that there are a lot of neobanks out there. There are a lot of companies that are trying to build Robinhood 2.0, but there are not that many companies. I don't know like any actually at this stage with like this like robust user base, the caliber of the team, the funding that we received in this like savings and investments for families. So I would say we're already like in a great competitive position, and we're just trying to run very fast to capture the market and become a dominant player.
Understand. Next question. What are main challenges you as a founder, as and manager meet during developing and growing the business?
Yeah, so I would say in the early days, there was like one set of challenges. Right now, it's like a different set of challenges. So I'll kind of like touch on both because I think like it might be interesting to the listeners. But when we started the company, we were trying to disrupt the industry that was not very receptive to innovation. So like early days, we really like were trying to make something mobile and like develop a great user experience in the industry that was still operating by faxes. So it was amazing how our first like MVP version of the product worked when it was very sleek and easy to use on the front end, and on the back end we were opening accounts via faxes. So like some industry players like could not keep up with demand, for example, right? We were like sending so many accounts to them that they were like we were just breaking the infrastructure. So like early days, we had to fight with the industry. We had to take some like large financial institutions to federal court and actually like fight with them, in the court. So fast forward, like we overcame those type of challenges that were like fun for any startup to experience. And right now, I would say like the biggest challenge probably is, because we are such a comprehensive, complex product on the back end, and we are reliant on a lot of other fintechs like Plaid to connect the bank, or Apex as our clearing broker dealer and custodian, or like PayPal, we a lot of times have to delay our own product launches because of the reliance on those players, right? Like this is something you cannot control. If Apex, delays a huge project like conversion of our RA accounts to the broker dealer, or our partnership with PayPal, like everything else on our product timeline also like gets delayed. So another interesting thing is just how do you kind of connect marketing, engineering, and product, and make sure that all teams like talk to each other and communicate in a great manner, especially when you're managing the entire company remotely and you're hiring a lot of new team members remotely. So that's kind of another interesting challenge that we're kind of solving right now. And the culture as well, right? Like how do you make sure like you maintain a very strong culture? Because for any startup, it's very important that everyone is moving in the same direction, has like the same vision when you're operating remotely.
Okay, understand. It's enough challenges. Okay, but being okay, lady founder, do you meet any specific challenges, or it is just okay, normal, like business as usual?
Do you want me to say the truth, or do you want me to?
No, to say truth, but frankly speaking, I can tell my opinion because
Yes.
we often ask, especially with new times, when everybody asks us about exclusivity. Okay, how many ladies we have, how many minorities we have, and so on. And we never had a special policy for it, but somehow we just find and meet strong persons. So we have many bright projects and bright lady founders. And we did already exits, and we have some pre-IPO stories and so on. For me, mainly I'm not trying to divide founders by gender. I divide founders how bright they are, how motivated they are, and so on. With you was the same. I'm very glad to work with a nice lady, but for me was main was your qualities as leader, as founder, as visionary, and so on. So
Yeah, no, and that's exactly why we partnered with AltaIR, right? Like that's one of the qualities of the investors that we were like looking for. But I'll just give you like just generally like the take on the industry, because I know that not that many people know about it. Like the more I talk to other people, the more I understand that there is like a huge unawareness aspect. But as it relates to like female founders, the stats typically goes like that. Only about 2% of female founders get venture capital, right? And 98% goes to male founders. And what was interesting, actually, the statistics actually declined from 2019 to 2020. In 2019, it was like 2.8%. In 2020, it was 2.3%. And if you talk about only fintech, I would say, like, I would argue, like, there are maybe like, less than 1% of female founders. So we do face our own challenges, intentional or unintentional. Of course, like it comes down to like network, right? Because a lot of these relationships are built because you know people and you go to the same networking events and you build those relationships over time. And I would say just like historically, women were like a little bit, not a part of that network. But again, like, I'm very optimistic for the future. I see that it's changing, and there are more funds that are focused on supporting just like this asset class. And again, like to your point, they're trying to evaluate founders based on merit, just like how bright you are, like your vision and all of that, and not your gender.
Okay, maybe I am in pink glasses because for me, I don't feel it. We like very much, and we speak to many female founders. And I will tell you more this year. Okay, we were rejected by some female founders. Yes, okay, because in some cases we came too late, and so it's not discrimination. We would chase a nice project with nice female founders. It's absolutely. So okay, but I see you see it from female position, so you it's interesting for our listeners, I understand, to get your point of view.
Yeah,
And
I
yeah,
would also say mention, Igor, that like when investors look at the company, they probably not only look at the founder or the CEO, they look at the executive team, and what's really helping us, our early investors, they witnessed, the recruiting, capabilities, right, and what caliber of people joined the executive team. So you know that our CMO, for example, he came from Marqeta. He was the second guy at Marqeta. Our COO came from Acorns. The CTO joined from Union Bank, and he was, executive at Calypso. So I think like that provides also like a lot of validity to the product, because I'm not the only one who's running the company. Like I'm supported by great, great individuals.
agree. Certainly, investors want to see management team, strong management team place, and okay, and both strong males and strong females in this team, for sure. Okay, tell me, okay, because you already grown through stages around B, okay, it is not like full success yet, but it's already some step in development of the project. What recommendations will you give to founders who start today or who already doing business? How to build successful project when you have competitive market?
Yeah, I would say like especially as it applies to fintech, it's very important to find your wedge into the market and not like try to compete with other like established players. So like for us, like what's been helpful, the when we started the company, the space of parents and kids was like still like very like early, right? Right now you see the companies like Greenlight and Step and Go Henry, but they are focused on like teenagers and like older kids. We focus like we really found our niche. We really found our wedge into the market with like focusing on parents with very young kids. And we build relationships like very early, and we build relationships, over time, and the product is very sticky. So one piece of advice I would just say, try to like even if the market is competitive, try to find that wedge and that niche that will allow you to gain competitive advantage quicker than everyone else. I would also say the network of advisors is super important, especially like, at the seed stage. So seed stage, I would say, is probably like the most challenging in terms of like fundraising, especially for the first time founders. So what's been extremely helpful for me is partnering up with established entrepreneurs, like people who already had exits, who had a lot of industry experience, and who had networks of investors. And when they believed in what I'm building and they believed in my vision, it was so much easier. Like, of course, I gave them some advisory equity, but they opened so many doors and they were validating my idea and my vision to venture funds.
Okay. And because we already touched the subject, do you have any specific recommendations to female managers,
Yeah.
employees?
Um, I mean, like for female entrepreneurs, it's very important to be confident, right? Because like my like big belief is you can always out execute, right? Like if the market is small, like you can always expand it and go international. If the business model, is not ready, you can always change it. But just be confident in your vision. Keep kind of working. Like it might be tough at the beginning, but resilience is super important. Treat any adversity as opportunity to learn and become stronger. And I would say like try to find like a strong system of support, right? Not just like female system of support, but rely on advisors, male and female, to get you to the next level, to help you propel your startup journey.
Got it. Ksenia, what else? Okay, now if you wanted to tell something, not answer my questions, But to tell something to our listeners, if you want to share some ideas, some visions.
Some ideas or some visions. So maybe
Okay.
like I can just maybe like say a little bit like what I'm observing in the market, like, since I started the company back in 2018, how the space is changing, like in finance and fintech, just like what we kind of see in the market. If that's interesting, I can also talk about the demographics of our users. I know that it's like typically people ask that question, like what's typical user, like, where do they live, like how much money they make, like all of that.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the demographic, the interesting thing about our app, again, like, um, we have a very good gender mix, which is interesting because for Robinhood and Acorns, like you might know that 90% of the users or early adopters were like, strongest skewed towards male. For us, it's 50-50 male, female, moms and dads. In terms of the average age, it's 34 years old for the parent. So typically, like we work with parents 30 to 45, and the most like frequent age of the kid on the platform is 1. Um, so again, like, we're trying to kind of like get into this new niche right now to provide our product for expecting parents, or like as a gift registry for like 1-year-olds, because again, like we see a lot of market insight who is using the product. In terms of like where they live, I would say we cover the entire country. We basically have users from every single state right now. Like the map looks like pretty crazy, and 90% of our users make less than 100,000 a year. So again, like we achieved that mission, or at least like we are on the way to achieve that mission to democratize access to financial services and not just make it available to 1%, but we're making it available to 99% of people who need it the most. Um, in terms of like what I observed in like just like the last 3 years since I started the company, definitely a very strong adoption of fintech, right? Like back in the days when I was still at Capital Group, just like, noodling on this idea, the companies like Robinhood and SoFi, they were like so small. And 3 years, like, fast forward, those are like household names. Like we all know Robinhood, SoFi, Acorns, and so on. So the adoption of fintech is like crazy. And I believe that pandemic definitely accelerates that trend by like about 10 years. So we also witnessed it, obviously, like last year with our own platform, that parents were saving like crazy and they were actually looking for ways to save. So organic search, in App Store, just like, increased. So yeah, like those are kind of like the observations. We definitely saw a lot of stimulus money also going to the child's account during the pandemic.
Okay, Ksenia, today we have not many questions from our viewers, but okay, let's address some. Okay, question here is how did Ksenia test the product idea? Was it mainly through problem interviews with clients or some other way?
Yeah, no, this is a great question. So when I just came up with the idea, I went to a lot of like networking events first, and I talked to like a lot of industry experts, advisors, just like trying to get their understanding, like and the validation. And then of course I had to do a lot of like consumer research, and because I came from like MBA and like CFA background, very analytical, I was trying to do both secondary market research and primary market research. For the secondary market research, we sent out like a lot of surveys just to collect the data, like on the demand, on like which features they want, what would be the best value proposition for parents. And on the primary user research, I reached out to a lot of my friends who were young parents, and we had focus groups. We actually, like after creating the prototype, we just asked like 12 parents sit down in the room and just test it and provide us like real-time feedback.
Got it. Okay, one more question. Previous question was from Nikita. Here is question from Vitaly. Am I understand this correctly about your project? Unest is stock brokerage firm that focused just on clients who want to have a brokerage account for their children.
It's not a brokerage account. It's a custodial account. So it's kind of it belongs to the child, right? The child is a beneficiary, but the parent is the owner. So the difference, like between brokerage account and custodial account, first of all, the ownership of the account. Again, like when child becomes adult, the child becomes the owner of the account. And the second is tax advantages, because the government is trying to incentivize parents to save and invest with kids. They provide certain tax advantages when you create the account in the name of the child and you use proceeds for the specific purposes, for something that benefits the child, versus like for anything else like you can do with brokerage account.
Okay, a second question from Vitaly was connected to first. If you answered yes to his first question, but as this answer was not positive, Vitaly, here is competition. Main competition is not with brokerage companies. Here is a specific product, a combination of financial literacy and custody account with tax advantages. So it is some other niche, and what I personally like in projects that it's really has chance to become a widespread financial tool for young families, for caring about future generation. So just to get it in competition with brokerage companies, it would be a wrong comparison.
Yeah, no, that's for sure. Our main competitors are like, very old-fashioned providers of 529 plans or UTMAs. And the interesting thing is that 70% of parents in the country right now don't even know that those type of accounts exist. So it's a huge opportunity, right, to like raise the awareness and capture the market with technology, with digital marketing, getting to the consumer through the means they understand. So the product historically was super undermarketed, on top of being like so complex and convoluted and like, so hard to understand. And yeah, the second thing is like for the typical consumer, it takes about 8 hours to figure out like, yes, I want to save for my kids. It's my number one priority. It's like I like such a high demand, but it's very complex to even find out what's the right account. And a lot of people don't understand investments. So we streamlined that whole like 8 hour process into like just 5 minutes to sign up.
Very nice. Okay, Ksenia, I believe we will make our meeting today a bit shorter because I don't have a lot of, I don't see new questions. So I believe let's finalize our meeting. I would tell that again, Unest is one of bright and promising emerging fintech startups with a strong team, strong leadership and advisory, good investors and big names supporting the project. So generally, I see it like future big success of female entrepreneur and big success also for hopefully for AltaIR investors, AltaIR and the Alta Club. So everybody, thank you for listening us. We will be glad if there will be more questions or questions from those who will look at YouTube. Afterwards, you can still place your questions. We will answer, and we're also available for answering the questions in social networks, in Facebook and LinkedIn. Ksenia, okay, thank you so much for joining me today, and I wish good success to yourself and to the project.
Yeah, no, thank you so much, Igor, for having me here. Really enjoyed the conversations. Thank you so much for asking great questions, and want to wish you also happy holidays. Christmas, New Year, Hanukkah. So
Thank you.
It was a pleasure to
Thank
be
you.
here.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Thanks. Bye-bye.